Hi VC, Dark Dove back with you again, and yes, I have another video just a couple of days after my contribution to Very Big Stars Give Me 10 series, which is now at 1981. But this is a video, those of you who follow Ben Costello's channel will know that he made a cross-Atlantic VC meetup with some Canadian members of the VC recently, including the one and only Bobby Gass. Bobby Gass, who resides in the city of Hamilton, which is just outside Toronto. Bobby gave some VCLT to Ben to bring back across the Atlantic back here to Ireland to me, and yeah, so I just got to meet up with Ben on Saturday. So he called down here to Cork, where I live. So I managed to pick up Bobby's VCLT from him, and we did a bit of digging as well, so I'll get into that in a minute. But so Bobby's VCLT, he gave this very nice tote bag, canvas bag, yellow pages, and today's communities, tomorrow's Canada. There's okay, forget it. In English and French, but this will come in very handy for digging sessions when I'm out vinyl hunting. So, two pieces of VCLT, two records that Bobby gave. First up is something which, a very interesting cover. So cover would kind of indicate maybe that this is something kind of Eastern or Indian. It's got Nanny Wine, and it's called Crazy. I think this is a 12-inch or kind of a mini album, but it turns out it's kind of Trinidadian. I think there's a particular type of of calypso music called soca, which this is apparently this is so it's kind of calypso dance music, I suppose you could call it. It's on a label called Trinity Records, and it came out in 1989. I presume this guy is the person behind Nanny Wine, this her suit gentleman. I found it quite funny that this is the very first time I've seen on a record a mention for a restaurant. Janelle's Cosmopolitan Rose Restaurant, Brooklyn. I think they must have sponsored the record, but yeah, this is quite this is a bit of a kind of a party record, I suppose you could call it. There's a bit of an Indian flavour in there as well. Now the other record he gave, this now is this is well, this is released under the name of Deadline, and it's called Down by Law. So basically, this came out in 1985 on Celluloid Records, and there's quite some lineup. Well, you probably can't see it there, but just to give you an indication of the lineup here. Bernie Worrell, the late Bernie Worrell. Bill Laswell on bass. Who else? Jaco Pastorius. Steve Ture, who I think his name is vaguely familiar as well. Rob Stevens on electric piano. So yeah, so there's an absolutely fantastic lineup on this. Basically, this is kind of jazz-influenced electronica, or kind of electro, I suppose, kind of reminiscent of Herbie Hancock's Future Shock. But I think this is a far superior record. This is, yeah, I really love this. This is it has a very 80s feel, but it doesn't sound, dated in the way that some stuff from that period sounds. And I absolutely love that artwork. There's a strong kind of an African feel running through this as well. There's a few African Manu Dibango on tenor saxophone and voice, Abe Dieng on congos. So yeah, there's quite a mashup going on here on this record. I spun it several times, and I really like this. So it's Deadline Down by Law, it's called. So thanks very much, Bobby, for this fantastic VCLT. So I really appreciate that. And so I know that Ben was said that he really enjoyed his trip over and meeting yourself and all the other Canadian members of the VC. So it was and he showed me pictures and everything. So it was a fantastic time was had, I would say. So okay, so I'll move on to some recent finds. Oh yeah, on Saturday as well, myself and Ben went digging. I only picked up one record myself. It's something that I've been looking for quite a while, and that is a soundtrack to the 1981 French movie called Diva, which was directed by Jean-Jacques Benet. I don't know if any of you who've seen this movie. It's a movie. It was kind of a wave of. It was the first movie in a kind of a wave of French movies in the 80s that were kind of influenced. That were kind of. I think it was called Cinema de Look, or something like that. But very kind of. This is the same. It was directed by the same guy who did Betty Blue, which is another favorite movie of mine. But soundtrack by oh god, Vladimir Kozma. Romanian composer, has done a lot of music for a lot of French movies. But yeah, it's kind of mixture of styles here. There's a lot of it is kind of an ambient feel to a lot of the soundtrack. There's a really nice piano piece called Promenade Sentimentale, which is kind of very reminiscent of Eric Satie. It's kind of strongly influenced by the Satie's piano style. But I was checking up this online after, and I think I paid a little bit. I paid €8 for it, but looking it up on Discogs is like, it really doesn't go for that much. I think it's a record that's probably very easy to find in French-speaking countries, but it's probably very common. But I don't tend to see it in the wild here. So anyway, glad I got it. I paid a little bit over the odds for it, but no matter. Okay. Okay, another long time want list item, and this is a Discogs purchase. I sold another record recently, and with the proceeds I got this Television Marquee Moon, which I don't think needs any introduction. This is a long time want list item, and it was just a big hole in my collection. Don't really need to go into this in too much detail because I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It featured heavily in Freddie Big Star's 1977 Gimme 10 series. Yeah, so it came out in 1977, Tom Verlaine, and it ostensibly a punk from the kind of punk scene, but it's not really a punk record. It's kind of it's basically anticipating post-punk, but yeah. It's a 1980s reissue. I was a bit annoyed because I was under the impression that I was buying that the copy I was buying was from the year of release, But as soon as I looked at it, it was obvious that it was a 1980s reissue. I took this up with the seller, and I said, you know, but he partially refunded me, so I was happy with that. Then, you know, I can live with it being a reissue, you know, but I'm just happy to have it on vinyl finally, because it's one that I was really kind of missing. Recent pickup. This is something I picked up. This is part of the Warp series of Peel sessions. John Peel, legendary John Peel. So this is on the Warp label. This came out in 1999, and this is by an act called The Black Dog, which is a three-piece UK electronic group, very much kind of reminiscent of there's parts of it that are kind of reminiscent of boards of Canada, and then there's other kind of some of it then brings to mind Aphex Twin. So all of those Peel session EPs, by the way, they all came in this kind of generic minimalist sleeve, as you can see. So instantly recognizable when you see them in the record stacks. Now this is something which I picked up very cheaply in a second-hand bookstore come record store. As soon as I saw this, as soon as I spotted the label on this, I recognized it, because it's a label that has been featured by Derek Higgins, Derek Vaughan, quite a bit. The label is Neon, and this is Conor McGregor's Brotherhood of Breath, about whom I knew absolutely nothing beforehand, but I've since been assured that this is Conor McGregor. He was South African, and this was a group that he formed with a bunch of other South African expats in London. So this is basically African influenced free jazz. I haven't. Okay, I'll explain. The reason I picked it up so cheap, for just €3, is for a very obvious reason, and that is because it is very badly warped. It has been, unfortunately, at some point, somebody left this up against a heater, and you can even see inside the plastic sleeve where it melted, or the plastic, plastic inner. So unfortunately, it is. Hopefully, I know there's all kind of methods online for flattening warped records and stuff, but I'm hopeful that perhaps I can come across somebody with one of those flattening machines, and perhaps try and fix it that way. But until then, I don't think I'll be playing this. But still, it's a very, very rare label to come across in the wild. There's very few titles released on it, but yeah. So yeah, well, hopefully I can do something with it. But in the meantime, but it's even if it's unplayable, I mean, it's a fantastic artwork there. So yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, now my next find. Sorry, just 2 seconds. I think. Just bear with me. Yeah. So recently, there's a used furniture store, just 5 minutes walk from where I live here. I just happened to pop into it by chance last week, and just for no look around, and I saw, yeah, they have a big box of vinyl in there. Well, not so much a box, but they have some in a box, but then most of it is just all on top of a big table at the back of this furniture store. So I had a good look through it. A lot of rubbish there, but I found a lot of very, very, very nice classical somebody just dumped a big classical collection, among which there's a couple of jazz records. Tempest in the Colosseum, and this is a live album that came out in 1977. And now, can I just explain? A lot of some of the records have the sleeves are in quite poor condition, but all of the records themselves are absolutely fantastic. The records are really well looked after, but some of the sleeves do have damage on them, like this one. Now this has quite a stellar lineup. Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, who else? Wayne Shorter, and Tony Williams on drums. Oh yeah, and Freddie Hubbard on trumpet. So this is a live concert that they did together in Japan in 1977, and it's a double album on CBS. And as I said, the discs themselves are in absolutely perfect condition. Yes, this is a really, as you can imagine, with a lineup like this, you know, this record does not disappoint. This is really good live fusion, spread over 2 discs. So yeah, price wise, the thing is that they were offering if you bought 2 records, they're €2.50 each, but I managed to get them knocked down even further than that. So so basically, I picked up these records for maybe €1, maybe €1.50 each. I think it probably worked out in the end. This is the other jazz pickup among the haul. James Williams and Emil Viklicki, and this is called Together. This is released on the Supraphon label, which is it's a Czech label and is primarily classical. They did occasionally release jazz. So this is jazz piano. Williams, American, and Emil Viklicki, Czech. So this is a record. This came out in 1982, and yeah, so it's just unaccompanied piano duets. So yeah, nice stuff here. Nice example of jazz piano. Now the rest of the haul is entirely classical. I'll go through them fairly quickly, but there's some really nice covers here. Again on Supraphon, Honegger, Swiss composer, symphonies number 2 and 3. I actually picked up 2 versions of the same recording, both on the Supraphon label. This is a 1970s repress, and this is the original, which came out I think either late 50s or early 60s, and it has a slightly different Supraphon label. It's just a little bit bigger there. So some really nice sleeves. This is a Polish album from the 50s, I think, or 50s or early 60s. This is Gershwin. Really like that pop art kind of sleeve. And yeah, so Rhapsody in Blue, and what's that other one? Piano Concerto number 4. Again, another really nice sleeve here. This is a German release from the late 50s on a label called Eterna. This is Brahms and Prokofiev piano music. Beautiful cover there. Again on the Supraphon label, Gustav Mahler, Symphony Number 9. This is a 1980s release. Yeah, this is 3 modern 20th century American composers, Copeland, Ives, and Maury. He's kind of a little known composer. So this is just piano and violin. Oh yeah, Lons Maury actually himself, he's on this performing piano. So Yeah, interesting 20th century music there. Nice little 10-inch, 1950s, I think. Stanislav Richter piano, Prokofiev. A lot of Bela Bartok string quartets. More Bartok. This is Hungarian, actually. This is Hungarian. A lot of Hungarian and Polish records. More Bartok. Violin concerto. More Bartok, and again, a lot of these are on the Supraphon label. Bartok again, and beautiful cover there. Love that cover. Simonowski, Polish composer, two string quartets, early 20th century. And I'm going to finish up with some Beethoven string quartets, Beethoven and Haydn, more Beethoven string quartets, again on the Supraphon label. And finally, this box set, Beethoven string quartets box set, the Albenberg quartet. This is actually, this goes for quite a lot of money online, actually, and it's in absolutely perfect condition. It's a four-disc box set which came out in around about 1984 thereabouts, of Beethoven's late string quartets. I might actually end up flipping this because I do have a lot of classical box sets, and I'm finding that there's not a lot of room for them. But it's because I think these two, like there's quite a bit of Beethoven's string quartets on these anyway. So you know, just to make back what I spent on these records, I might end up selling this online, but we'll see anyway. I'll probably play it and then find that I can't let go of it. Anyway, that was it. So thanks very much again to Bobby for that wonderful VCLT, and I'll be hearing from you all shortly again. So thanks for watching.